Okay, so I'm keeping the fingers crossed. I apologize. We had significant issues. There you go. I do apologize. Let's start all over again. Very good evening. I'm Anthony Murphy of Mythical Ireland. You are watching Live Irish Myths episode number 140. This is our regular series, as you've probably know if you've been watching lately. We have a new sort of breakout series, which is Live Irish Myths in Conversation. And we've had some wonderful conversations. I hope you agree. The first one was with storyteller Eddie Lenihan. Then we had Con McGann. We had Jim Fitzpatrick. We had Professor J.P. Mallory. We had Dolores Whelan. And on Monday just gone, we had Mairead Carew, who was talking to us about the Hill of Tara and the British Israelites. Next Monday, So I'm just checking that I'm live. I do apologize for all of the interruption to the service. No, that's okay. I'm on Facebook. I can see that there now. So I apologize to the YouTubers for the interruption that you had, but the initial stream was not being served to the Facebookers for some reason. So I do apologize about that. Anyway, if you're coming back for some reason, there you go. I'm there. If you're coming back, I do apologize for the interruption. Next Monday's Live Irish Myths in Conversation features somebody who I'm very excited to talk to, and that's Patrick McCafferty. He, alongside with Professor Mike Bailey of Queen's University, produced a book, I think it's more than 20 years ago, The Celtic Gods, about comets in Irish mythology. And as you know, I have a huge interest in astronomy myself, and as it happens, I have a fairly major interest in comets and chasing these, looking for these sort of strange objects in the sky. So next Monday at 9 p.m. Irish time. So that's an hour later than the regular episodes. So whatever your time is now, if you're on the East Coast, it's 4 p.m. in New York. It will be, sorry, if you're on the East Coast now, it's 3 p.m. or nearly 10 past. But those conversation episodes are an hour later. So it'll be 4 p.m. and 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm just going to paste in the link as a comment beneath the video, so that you can all register for free for that Zoom event, which is the conversation with Patrick McCafferty next Monday. And I'm just pasting that in on the Facebook videos as well. Pardon me while I do that. You have to be registered to participate, but it's a free event. And the registration, I think, as I was explaining before, is merely to prevent unwanted access to the event. Believe it or not, I have heard of incidents where Zoom meetings were interrupted, bombed, is that the word? Gate crashed by unruly teenagers. Anyway, before I get started on tonight's story, I should welcome the audience, because it's a regular episode, so we can give a shout out to people. Robin Rickman is in the house. Good evening to you, Robin. Nice to see you. Veronica Casey is here. Hello, Veronica. Anne McCallum is here. A beautiful, sunny, spring-like day in southwestern Ontario, but winter is not finished with us yet, nor us. After our spectacular weekend, we've had cloud and it's been quite cool. But anyway, no snow. Daisy Peters is in the house. Hello, Daisy. Always a pleasure. And Scott Doherty is here and is saying hello to everybody. Brilliant stuff. I am seeing the Facebook comments now, which is brilliant. Catherine Woodruff is also saying hello in her own inimitable style with the emojis, with the little symbols. They're brilliant. Mariana Dunn says Banity from Virginia. Hello, Mariana. It's great to see you along, or to have you along. Margaret Kiernan is in the library. Hello, Margaret. Seamus Marr is also here. What's the crack with the clan? Well, the crack is quite good, Seamus, given everything that's going on, to be honest. We're holding our own and keeping the good side out, as the man says. Keeping her between the ditches. Indigo Friedlander says, hello from Kentucky. Well, good evening or good afternoon to you, Indigo. A great pleasure to have you along. Hope you enjoy the episode. Leon Leach, I don't know how to pronounce your surname. I hope that's right, is in the house and says hi all. Adina Sparks is also here. And now, conversely, I'm not seeing the YouTube comments. I'm only seeing the Facebook comments. I tell you, this Melon app is a subscription service and it's on trial. So I'll tell you, if I keep having problems like this, I won't be continuing with it. There we go. I'm seeing YouTube comments now, so I do apologize. No, Live Irish Myths has not stopped and it has not gone pay-per-view, is the answer to the Woodsies. No, it continues to be free. We're just having technical glitches, that is all. And Sheila Gunn is in the house, a little bit tired, but I'm here. Well, hopefully we can perk you up with a story from ancient Ireland. The Not Chosen is also on YouTube saying hello. Anne Sieben is here from sunny New Mexico. Glad to catch this. I was heading out for a walk in the desert, but I'll go later. Brilliant stuff. Make sure you bring water. And great to see you. Welcome along. Just in case I'm missing anything else. Visuals are magnificent. Audio quality is ridiculously good. Good evening to all from Belfast. Hello, Marcus. Irish Technical Thinker. Thank you, and glad to have you along. Sue Prenter is in the house. Hello, Sue. Always a pleasure, as it is, to welcome Olwen Roy Badziak, where she is in Chile, Berkshire, which, as you all know, is in the Arctic Circle. No, it's not, but I mean, it might be sometimes. It certainly might feel like it. Paul Devine says, good evening. Hello, Paul. Leach means hero in Irish. I was going to say, that's an interesting one. Yes. Who else have we got? Archaeoastronomy Database in the house. So excited to be here. We are the Night Watchers. Yes, indeed. I hope you enjoy this tale. I only stumbled upon it recently, and I think it's a gem. I think it's a real gem. Brendan Byrne is here from Glan Daloch, or the Glen of the Two Lakes, Glendalough in County Wicklow. As they say, grand stretch and evening. I tell you, by this time next month, yes, in a few weeks' time, we will have our clocks going forward. And we'll be enjoying a lovely stretch. A very, very nice stretch in the evening. Keep her lit, says Margaret. Yes, indeed. We will do all our best to do that. Sorry. Susan Scott is saying hello to all the lovely people. Got my first COVID shot today, so I'm doing brilliant stuff, Susan. The very best wishes to you. Mandy McCurl is in the house. Brilliant stuff. Daisy says, I always prefer YouTube than Facebook. There you go. Hopefully the quality of the stream is decent enough. Robin says, now I see it here. Brilliant. I'll not say that just in case Facebook is listening and that gets back. But like, if you flash it up on screen, they won't hear it, will they? Irish Technical Thinker. Gillian Taylor says, YouTube feed is down. So I'm joining here. Yeah, no, what happened, Gillian, was I was supposed to be streaming to the two Facebook groups and YouTube, and it wasn't streaming to Facebook. So I stopped the original stream and I had to restart a separate one. So it's not down. It's just that the original one is stopped and I had to start a new one. Mandy is intrigued. Well, hopefully we can assist you with your curiosity, you know. It's great to have you all along, and it's great to have a normal episode where we. I've been actually a little bit nervous about some of my guests on the conversation series, believe it or not, because you don't know you're dealing with sort of significant experts in their fields, and they have all made me feel very relaxed and comfortable. They've been brilliant, the whole lot of them. And I don't think Patrick McCafferty will be any different. I think he'll be another brilliant guest. I just wanted to give a shout out to Mythical Ireland patrons. You helped to make all of this happen. So just to give you an example, in relation to what your patronage does, I mean, I'm paying for the Melon app service for the stream. That's going to be a monthly payment. I've invested, as you probably knew lately, in a better camera for the streams. I recently invested in a better microphone. I hope you're hearing the results of that. And so these are the sort of things that you're helping with. Just a shout out to the patrons over at patreon.com/Mythical Ireland. If you're interested in becoming a patron and supporting the work that I do, you actually get rewards for that in the form of lots of early access and lots of stuff that is yours to see first, basically, including early access to videos, photographs, podcasts, blog posts, updates about various things that are happening, and more. So the other thing that I need to mention is that the Return to Segish, my new book, is on the printing press as we speak. I'm hoping to have physical copies in my hand within a fortnight. Who knows? let's keep the fingers crossed that might even happen sooner than that. But if it doesn't, that's okay, because I did say I would hope to have it launched by spring equinox, so fingers crossed. I'll just paste in a link there if you want to pre-order your signed copy. I'd be very happy to sign one for you and to get it out into the post. And I do indeed ship worldwide. Just, pardon me, just in case you're wondering. And I'll just catch up with a few more comments before we get stuck into tonight's story. Veronica Casey is saying nice things about the conversation series. Glad to hear you've been enjoying it, Veronica, as I have immensely. If this was ancient Ireland, Anthony would be that mysterious man living on the side of a mountain in a wooden hut, and we'd be those people who pay him with vegetables to tell us stories. Now, come here, Marcus, can I just say something to you now? If you wanted to pay me to tell you stories, there'd have to be some salted pork involved. And maybe a bit of salmon. Just putting that out there, you know. The full Irish, whose name is Jerry, is it Gary Keogh, is it? Gary, I apologize, because you see, your name, your handle on YouTube kept popping up, and it was only when you shared the photo of you reading up on Hell's Kitchen at the Hellfire Club, then I realized there's the connection. Is it Gary Keogh or is it Jerry? Anyway, good evening to you, and it's great to have you along. I think you were based in Tala in County Dublin. Tala Muncher Part alone. Hazelnuts, says Mandy. Yes, actually. So salted pork, salmon, and a bowl of hazelnuts. If you want to hear me telling stories, that's how you'd have to pay me. Gary, yes. Good stuff. And Yvette Tillema is also here. Hello, Yvette. Yvette is going to ask me what book I'm reading from, and I'm going to say, I'm not reading from a book tonight. I'm reading from material that I had to source on the internet. So the tale itself was translated. This is Airne Fingen's Night Watch. It was translated. Sorry, it wasn't translated. It was transcribed in the Irish in Anecdota from Irish Manuscripts, edited by Bergen, Best, Meyer, and O'Keefe, Volume 2. That's from 1908, Hodges and Figgis. So that's the Irish version. But thankfully, there is available an English translation, which was made by T.P. Cross and A.C.L. Brown. T.P. Cross is one of the duo Cross and Slover of ancient Irish tales, whose versions of certain tales we have read in the past. Oh, Stephen Walker. Sorry, yes, of course. Right, let's get this straight. So if I'm on the side of a mountain and you come up to my mountainside hut and you say, Anthony, read me a story in ancient times, and you want me to read it, so you have to serve me salted pork, salmon, a bowl of hazelnuts, and a dram of whiskey. Thank you, Stephen. Yes, indeed. And Maggot AJ is saying half a pound of bog butter. Garage O'Branagon is in the house. Hello, Garage. Great to see you. Hope you're well. Long time no talk, like as in a few days. Brendan Iwaraku, sorry. Thank you. This is live TV. Anything is going to happen. Brenda, always a pleasure for me to welcome another Murphy into the household. Hello, you lovely people. Looking forward to tonight's story. I suppose I better get on with it, seeing that we had a delay at the start. I'll do my best to keep an eye on comments. Joan. Do you know what, Joan? One can only ask, and one can only receive, two answers in various guises, either yes or no. So who knows? I'll ask. So this story is translated from a manuscript that forms part of the Stowe collection of manuscripts, Stowe. I'll give you a little bit of background about that. Some of the Irish manuscripts in that collection have ended up in the Royal Irish Academy, thankfully, where they can be studied and have been studied by a generation or several generations of scholars. The Stowe manuscripts consist of about 2,000 Irish, Anglo-Saxon, and later medieval manuscripts. Most of them date from, I apologize for the noise of that notification. I may end up turning off my speakers. Most of them date from the period 1154 AD to 1500 AD approximately. Originally, they were collected by the first Marquess of Buckingham, should I say, whose lifespan was 1753 to 1813, and his son, the first Duke of Birmingham and Chandos, 1776 to That couldn't be 93. No way. I took down the number wrong. I apologise. It's probably 23. And they were kept at Stowe House near Buckingham, hence the Stowe collection. As I say, several of the manuscripts ended up in the Royal Irish Academy, but the majority of the collection rests currently in the British Library. This one is a fascinating one. So just to give you just a tiny little bit of a preamble, this story happens in conjunction with the birth of Conn Cétcathach. And I think I mentioned this, didn't I, in the chat, the conversation episode with Moncon McGann. This story takes place in conjunction with the birth of Conn Cétcathach, who goes on to become one of the most illustrious high kings of Ireland at the Hill of Tara. And his name would be up there in lights with the likes of Cormac MacArt and Niall Mígílach, Niall of the Nine Hostages, as some of the best known of the 150 or so kings that were said to have ruled at Tara from prehistory right into early medieval times. Deborah Williams, I will consider that, Peg. Yeah. Didn't have much fun with that, reading that in school, but I tell you, I have regrets about that yesterday. I see somebody saying hello to Evan and Chile. There you go. Hello, Evan and Chile. And of course, Vicky, good evening to you. Welcome along. I hope you're all keeping well. So, anyway, I suppose the best thing is probably just to read the story, isn't it? You know, let's get on with it. Once upon a time, when Fingen mac Luchta was in night watch on Halloween in Fingen, there came a fairy woman visiting Fingen every Halloween continually, so that she used to tell him whatever there was of marvels and of glories in Airne from one Halloween to another. So initially, I should say here straight away that where you see the word Halloween, that is translated from Samhain. And I actually would prefer, and I'll do my best to say Halloween to say Samhain rather than Halloween. So we're talking about Samhain, which is a time, as you know, from a lot of stories, that a great deal of action appears to take place. A lot of it supernatural, mysterious action. And Drumfingen is obviously, well, Drum means a hill, and it's obviously a hill that's named after him. Perhaps that's where his fort or his stronghold or his mound was. And when you see the word fairy woman, that is translated directly from Ben-She, B-E-N in this case. And in modern Irish, or in modern times, we would call that a Ban-She, literally a woman of the she. So she used to come to Fingen every Samhain to tell him whatever there was of marvels and glories in Ireland from one Samhain to another. Rothniamh, that's Rothniamh, whose name means wheel splendor, the daughter of Ol Urscahach, which means fresh flowery, from the She of Clew, was the name of that woman. Now, I read in another paper that Rothniamh has a lunar context. Pardon me. And there's a suggestion that the wheel is to do with the circular shape of the moon. And that's something I could probably be doing with carrying out more research on. Sounds interesting all the same. Just making sure everybody is happy. Let me just check that everything's okay on, sorry about this, on Facebook. Yes, there are people watching on. The great thing now with this new, Michael Mailer's in the house. Hello, Mike and Jeanette. How are you keeping? Marianne Uber says, thank you for these delightful breaks from work. I'm not sure if I saw that here yet. So I'm not seeing the Mythical Ireland community comments here. That's something I have to try and address. So the great thing about this new streaming service is I can stream on YouTube and on the Facebook page and on the community group all at the same time from one camera. So it's great. How many wonders, O woman, said Fingen, are there tonight which we do not know in Airne. 50 wonders, said the woman. Tell them to us, said Fingen. There is a great wonder, said the woman. To wit, a son is born tonight in Tara, to Phelimid, son of Tuol Techtmar, king of Airne. And that son will obtain Airne in one lot, and there shall spring from him 350s of kings, of all those who shall take the throne in Airne until the time of Orenach, which means the golden-faced one of Ishnach, and they shall all be kings, though they shall not have the same duration of life. So she straight away tells him that there's 50 miraculous occurrences or wonders that are happening in Ireland, and that these are coinciding with the birth of this son of Phelimid, or grandson of Tuol Techtmar. And this is a prophecy, of course, about the glorious, illustrious reign of Conn Cétcathach and his descendants. Then Fingen sang this quatrain. Though this be a long night watch, in which there might be length of 7 winter nights, the men of Airne would not be sorrowful and would not sleep during it. So clearly a very, very special series of events coinciding with this foretold birth and this prophesied great reign occurring. Also should mention that thrice 50s, which is a number that we see regularly, as we've discussed in many of our episodes, in Irish mythology, that generally refers to a great number. I'm just trying to find the Irish. So I have the Irish version alongside. That's yeah, I can't immediately find it. Anyway, not to worry. And so the sections are numbered. That was section 1, which is basically the beginning of the story. Hope everybody's comfortable. The word for the wheel of the moon, Mandy wants. Sorry, I apologize. I'm trying to hide and I'm showing. No, there we go. Rotniamh, R-O-T-H-N-I-A-M-H. I'll just paste that in as a comment. So hopefully you'll all see that. Wonder if I paste my comment. See, it's not allowing me. Believe it or not, I can't actually paste a comment in through. That's another thing I have to rectify, by the way. It's another thing on the glitch list. If you ever saw Jurassic Park, what's his name? Samuel L. Jackson's character sitting at the desk smoking, and the headlights are not working on the car, and he goes, that's item number 171 on today's glitch list. Yeah, so I have 2. Let's hope my list doesn't get that long. Section 2. And what other wonder, O woman, said Fingen. Not hard to tell, said the woman. Ni ansa, of course, as we know, is the Ni hansa in this case is the typical response to questions in Irish mythology. And it basically means not difficult, that which we encountered time and time and time again in Tugal Brunja da Durga, the destruction of Da Durga's hostel. Tonight there bursts forth a splendid stream over the eastern plain of Airne on the track of the woman warrior, the wife of the son of Nechtan, that is, from the place where she, Nechtan, is located, northeast to the billows, literally the main, M-A-N-E, of the sea. A well, said she, which is deeply hidden with the 3 cupbearers of Nechtan, to wit, Rod and Lazy and Pilot. They are the translations of their names. And we'll have a look at the Irish version in a moment. The woman warrior she is, who went from them after violating the well's gyasa, or taboo, so that she well made a beautiful river, so that the well made a beautiful river, and so that numerous are its many glories, both oak woods and plains and bogs and fords and marshes and river mouths and streams. It shall be a bountiful road, and it shall be a rod of white bronze across a plain of refined gold, for its name is the Boyne. And Fingen uttered another quatrain. Although my aspect be not brilliant, and although the night watch is long, even though it last for me to the end of a winter night, it will not bring me into despondence. So we have to speak for a second about this first of the major. Now, she doesn't list 50. The story doesn't list all 50. I think there are 12. This one is spectacular because this is another version of the story of 14 sections. This is another version of the story that we encountered in Live Irish Myths very early on. The story of Boann from the Dinshennachus, the story of the formation of the River Boyne, the story of Nectan's Well, also known as the Well of Segish, which is a principal feature, a principal inspiring characteristic of our inspiring what should we say, a principal light of inspiration for the forthcoming return to Segish, which, as I mentioned earlier, is currently on the printing presses. So I was really fascinated at this, and I think I said it to Moncon McGann in our conversation, that he actually, the woman, the mysterious Banshee, who is speaking to Fingen, refers to Boann not by name at first, but actually calls her the woman warrior, which I think is absolutely fascinating. And that word is Bangalgia, Bangalghaldhe. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a tongue twister. Na Nectan. Now, she's supposed to be the wife of Nectan in some versions of the tale. Here she's the wife of the son of Nectan. Not that it matters too much. The names of the cup bearers in Irish, Flesk, Agus, Lesk, Agus, Luaf, which are translated as Rod and Lazy and Pilot. Now, I wouldn't have a servant of any kind if their name was Lazy. Would you? Joke. Terrible joke. Okay, and so tonight there bursts forth what the Banshee is suggesting is that the River Boyne is being formed on the night that Conn Cétcathach is being born, which is spectacular. And that it should go northeast on the plain of Airne towards the Mung Mara, Moing. And Mung, or Mong, literally means your hair, the billows or the mane of the sea. Chibra Arshi, the well, Tipper, Chupra, Tibber. There's so many different spellings of it. A well, said she, which is deeply hidden with the three cupbearers of Nectan. The woman warrior she is, who went from them after violating the well's Gyasa. And of course, what happened, according to the Dinshennachus, was that Bowen walked 3 times with her shins, or anti-sunwise, around the well. Tuhal, pardon me, rather than Jeshel, which is apparently the proper prescribed way to go about it. And that it burst forth, and that it washed her out to sea while forming the River Boyne. And it rightly describes the many glories of the Boyne Valley. Oak woods and plains and bogs and fords and marshes and river mouths and streams. And it is indeed, to this day, a wonderful and beautiful landscape. It shall be a bountiful road. And I was very interested there in that case. Be road imash agus be a in shifa finvrunye darshin. And in English that is, it shall be a bountiful road, but imash, IMAIS, looks to me like it might be a re-rendering of the word imbus, which is inspiration, or imbus forestney, which is described in Sanna's Cormac's glossary as being the poetic inspiration, basically, prognostication, the ability to see the future, etc., etc. something that was accessible to druids, etc. But I just wondered whether, and perhaps somebody who's more expert than me in these matters, be road imish, it shall be a bountiful road, or a road of imbus, I wonder. And of course, the Boyne and its valley has, for generations, provided inspiration to all sorts of poets and writers and musicians who have lived along its shores, you know. Kathy May Deo's in the house from Washington State, Newcastle. And it's a spring-like day there. Glad to hear it, Kathy. We've been having some good weather in the past week, so we're glad of that. There you go. Joan is helping here. Intuition, yes, the same sort of thing. Something a bit like scrying, Mandy. Yes, indeed. Section 3. And what other wonder, O woman, said he. Ni hansa, old she, or not hard to tell, said the woman. Actually, the Irish is Ni hansa in ben. Dirch on van, we might say in modern Irish. A tree indeed, said she, that's Tree, which has been hidden in Airne from the time of the flood, and it sheds 3 showers of fruit through the mist, so that the plain on which it stands is full of mast thrice yearly. In other words, it gives 3 harvests of nuts in the year. And when the last acorn falls from it, then comes the blossom of the next acorns. And the waves of the flood saved it without destroying it, and the eye of man has not seen it until tonight. So this is really bizarre. Some sort of mysterious tree which has been concealed from human view since the time of the Great Flood is now going to come into view. The yew of Ross, that's a yew tree, in Irish, O Rossa, E-O, or O-S-S-A, is the name of that tree, said she. That is to say, it is a scion of the tree which is in paradise. In other words, a young shoot or the twig of a plant, which is in paradise. Fascinating stuff. It is tonight, moreover, that it has been revealed to the men of Airne, that it may be an eternal glory from beginning to end. Then Fingen spoke this quatrain. Not sorrowful is the watch, waiting for the tree which has been hidden since the flood. Lasting will be its glory over Bray, and that's anglicised Brea, as in the plain of Brea or Brega, in which our great monuments at Brunabonia are situated. Brea would be corresponding with most of the modern county of Meath. To the tribes over whom it will spread. Fantastic stuff. So we've already got 2 sort of spectacular miracles. The Boyne is going to be formed tonight as a way of sort of supernaturally announcing the birth of a great king. And the mysterious tree that has been hidden since the Great Flood will be revealed. Section 4. Make sure that I'm not missing any comments. Della Hurley is listening for the first time. Hello, Della. Welcome along to Live Irish Myths. You're very, very welcome. Don't forget that there are 139 other episodes, all archived on YouTube, and 6 episodes of the Conversation series, and about 10 Book Talk episodes. You've got lots to catch up on. I hope you enjoy that. Ireland is the most magical place in the world. It is so because of its people. Never let the magic be replaced. There is something distinctly mystical, definitely, about Ireland. I can concur with that, no problem. Section 4. And what other wonder, O woman, said Fingen. Ni hansa are in ben. Or in this case, or in ben. Not hard to tell, said the woman. God, the High King, and of course you can see now where the Christian scribe has had his fun. God, the High King, granted to Fintan mac Bochre that he should be a chief judge of wisdom in this world. And he has been mute from the hour that he heard the wave roar of the flood against the side of Mount Olivet. he himself being upon the brow of the wave in the southwest part of Airne. Moreover, he was asleep as long as the flood was upon the world, and he has been in silence from that time onward. And tonight the power of speech has been unlocked for him to tell the history of Airne. For that history has been in obscurity and in darkness until tonight. For he is the one just man that the flood left in Airne. Therefore tonight a glorious spirit of prophecy has been sent in the shape of a gentle youth, and has alighted on his lips from a ray of the sun, until it extended through the trench of his back, i.e. the lower part of the back of his head, so that there are 7 good speeches of poetry that are upon his tongue to tell the histories and the synchronisms of Airne. The Shanachasa, the histories, and synchronisms is translated from Conne, C-O-N-G-N-E, which means synchronism or historical knowledge. Thereupon he said, though it be a long night to me, this is Fingen, yes. He said, though it be a long night to me from 9 o'clock till morning, it does not disturb me because of any one of these fair, wonderful deeds. And okay, if you haven't encountered Fintan MacBochra before, here we go. So I had the well of Sagish Nectan's well in the Boyne, which is a principal inspiration, one of the principal inspirations from mythology for Return to Sagish. And now we have Fintan MacBochra, who greatly inspired my previous novel, which is called The Cry of the Sebach. And Fintan, it was the sole survivor of a group of people who came to Ireland just before the Great Flood, including Cessair, Cessair, who is said to have been the granddaughter of Noah. She had been refused access to the great ark of the biblical flood, and Noah's advice to her was that she should go to a country where there was no sin, there were no humans, there were no people living, because there would be no sin and therefore would not be subject to God's wrathful judgment. She came here with 3 men, and either 50 or thrice 50 women, depending on which version you read. And all of them were killed, with the exception of Fintan. Fintan, it is said, survived at the top of a hill overlooking, I think it's Loch Derg in County Tipperary, Tulpinge. If I'm wrong about the lake that it overlooks, please forgive me, that's my mistake. And that he survived, in some accounts, in a cairn at the top. And he had transformed into a salmon, presumably so he could swim in the flood waters when they overtook the land. And then he transformed into an eagle and later a hawk. And of course, it is in the guise of a hawk that he appears in my novel, The Cry of the Sebach. But Fintan would have appeared, and we did an episode, didn't we, on the settling of the manor of Tara, in which Fintan plays a very, very important role. And the idea that God has appointed him a chief judge of wisdom goes very well with the stories about Fintan, because he would be seen to be sort of a wise. What he appears to represent in Irish mythology is the survival of wisdom through the ages, the epochs. In the guise of one person who has transformed into animals and come back to human form, or perhaps it's just a metaphor for the fact that wisdom survives the generations as it's passed down from mouth to ear. I don't know where that Mount Olivet is, except for that's translated from Shlevi Olifet, O-I-L-E-F-E-T in the Irish, Shlevi Olifet. In the English, it's rendered O-L-I-V-E-T. I have no idea where that is. I presume that's one of the biblical mountains mentioned in the Noah tale. Perhaps somebody who's a bit more familiar with Genesis can tell us about that. Apparently he was asleep as long as the flood was upon the world. And tonight the power of speech has been unlocked for him to tell the history of Ireland. Of course, that's another thing that he would be known for in the stories, is that he had a fabulously comprehensive knowledge of the Shanachas, the old lore of Ireland. We don't really use that term history per se. We see it more as learning and wisdom. We don't see it as recounting history in the way that we might see the annals, for instance. Irish Technical Thinker is making a good point, and that is that the Salmon of Knowledge is also referred to as Fintan in several versions of the story there. Fascinating stuff. There's different versions of course, as to where the salmon was caught. Royal Tara Ranger, who is, I think it's Paul, isn't it? tells us that the River Skane at Bective, that Cormac caught the salmon there, and he choked on the fish bone. Well, he absolutely did. The story pertains to Cormac MacArt that he choked on a salmon bone and died at Rossnaree, and that he couldn't be carried to Brunabonia, even though that was his wish. And he ended up being buried at Rossnaree on the southern side of the Boyne, opposite the great monuments of Brunabonia. Section 5. I better skip along a little bit. I mean, I'm under no time pressure even, and I'm not sure that I could speak for anybody who's watching. I'm hoping that you can all hang around, but I'll do my best to get through it. Section 5. And what other wonder, O woman? Not hard to tell, said the woman. There have been completed tonight the 3 chief fabrics of Airne. Pardon me, I apologise. To wit, the helmet of Brions, from the sheaths of Crochu, which Bro, the son of Shmahru, the smith of Angus, son of Uvor, made. That is, and I think that's a different Angus to Angus Og, the one we would encounter at Brunabonia. That is the battle helmet of purple crystal of the land of India, with an apple of gold on top of it, the size of a man's head, and 100 threads of variegated carbuncles, and 100 tresses of very shining red gold, and 100 chains of white bronze adorning it. Wow, sounds quite ornate. Queen Elizabeth II and your big fancy crown eat your heart out. For a series of years, it has been hidden from the Morrigu in the well of the She of Crochu. Let me just see if I can catch up on this. Tibra She Crochan. So this is a well associated with a mound at, I presume that's Rathcroghan, the famous Crochan, Rathcroghan. If that's not the case, perhaps somebody who's more knowledgeable could tell us. It has, moreover, been hidden until tonight. So this is, as you can see, is a theme. The Boyne is going to form tonight. The mysterious tree that has been hidden is going to be made visible tonight. Fintan, who has been mute until tonight, is going to find speech. And now we have this wonderful battle helmet, which is going to be revealed. And the chessboard of Cruthan Nia Noir, which he brought from the gathering of Find. By the way, that's Hainach Find. So that's a mention of an Aonach site, and that, as you know, instantly excites me. Reference Aonach Angusa or Aonach in Broga, which I wrote about in the Drone Henge book. That always excites me greatly when I see that word, and I wonder where Aonach Finn was. On Cruthan's adventure into Fairyland, by the way, sorry, that should be, let me just see if it mentions. Yeah, in Achtra, Cruthan. Achtra is not one of these great adventures. When he went one day northeastwards of everybody, i.e. the rest of the world, from the She of Bov, that's, I presume, Bov or Bub Jarug, upon an adventure, so that it has been in Ishnach until tonight. And of course, I'm also very excited about the mention of Ishnach, because if we're talking about treasure that's hidden, Ishnach being the absolute, the holy, as it were, the revered spiritual centre of Ireland, would be a fabulous place to keep it. And the diadem of Lera Machluchta Whitehand, which land Lin Fiaclach. Lin Fiaclach is teeth, so Lin, I'm not sure. Lin, I'm surprised that I didn't actually go to the effort of trying to translate that. Something to do with the colour of his teeth or the appearance of his teeth. Son of Bainvloha of the Ban maid, the 3 daughters of Fandlat MacDorath from the She of Fairfield, found it tonight after its being hidden for a long time, to wit, for the birth of Conchovar Red Eyebrow even. Then Fingen spoke this quatrain: "'Tis a long watch if it were not for you, a talking to me so that it was wonderful. I was a hero, I was a king, by the side of the full long stone." So what are the 3 treasures, three chief fabrics is how it's translated here. I'd love to, and I will do it, but not now. I wonder what the word is that is translated to fabrics. Fabric seems such a clumsy word. Anyway, one of them is the battle helmet of Brian. One of them is the chessboard of Cruthan. Is that the same Cruthan, Joan, who is associated with Ben Ether? I presume it is, with Hoth. And the diadem of Lera Macluchta Whitehand. Yeah, anybody have an idea what Finn might be? Oh, bright, of course. Oh, stupid me. Oh, God, Anthony, you dope. Yes, bright or fair or white. Yes, Finn Cétcathach literally means white teeth. Sorry. This is live TV for you. And if somebody was so inclined to go back over the videos of all of the episodes we've had and extract those little embarrassing moments that I've had, you could put together quite a funny video of outtakes where I've made an absolute tool of myself in front of everybody. Number 6. And what other wonder, O woman, said Fingen. Not hard to tell, said the woman. The 5 chief roads of Airne, said she. They were not found until tonight. And neither horses nor chariots have travelled them. And of course, you probably know already, but we're immediately referring here to the 5 great roads of Ireland, which were said to radiate from Tara, its ancient political and spiritual capital, out into the various parts of the island. Brilliant stuff. Yes, Joan, I assume so. There was only one. I'm not entirely sure about the pronunciation. I think some people say just say Griffin, because there's an addition on the M, so Crimthn, Cruftham. So it's nearly like Crivthn, Cruftham. And what other wonder? Yes, the 5 chief roads. They were not found until tonight. So in other words, they were there, but nobody could see them. And they're going to be revealed tonight. They are the track of Milochra, the Shlea Milochra, which Milochra Mac Daverne, the son of the king of Shruvbrine, found in reaching Tara for the meeting of the feast of Tara tonight. I think Shlea Milochra is the one that goes north, so that travels past Brunabonia and up through the gap of the north into ancient Ulster. And the track of Colu, which Farfi, man of poison, Mac Ogaval, Fork. They translate some of the names, which is helpful. Found on reaching Tara tonight before the phantom hosts of fairy, which is how it's translated here. Let me just see if I can find Mac Ogaval, and then what's after? Mesgurv Shi Oak Torocht Chaurocht Anocht Agus Shlia. Yeah, okay. The phantom hosts of fairy is how it's dramatically rendered. And the track of Asal, A-S-A-L, but that's Shlia Ashel, S-L-I-G-H-E, A-S-A-I-L, which Asal Macdor Dovwash, which means bad tasting. I love some of these names. Found on reaching Tara before the Reavers of Meath. And the track of Dal, or the Shlia Gala, S-L-I-G-H-E-D-H-A-L-A, which Setna Sithjarg ever read, Mac Dornvoya, Yellow Fist. So Setna was known as Setna ever read Yellow Fist. And it's funny because you think these are comical names, but then you think about the names of some of the chiefs and the tribal elders of the Native American tribes. And you begin to think, well, these are possibly emanations from some really genuine historical tradition. Found before the bandit host of Ormond as he was seeking the feast of Tara tonight. And the great track, the 5th and the greatest of the roads, the Shlia Mór, or, as it's also known, Escar Riada. And that is the one that heads west. I think it's over towards Galway. It runs past Clonmacnoise, the very famous monastic settlement there, close to the Shannon in the middle of the country. which Mayor Macangasa Uvalj found before the heroes of bravery of Irish Downland in strife, so that they are the first to have reached Tara tonight, and these 5 roads did not appear in Airne until tonight. And Fingen began a quatrain. Although I am in long rest, no long sadness seizes me, no dislike of the Black Night seizes me before the feast of the great host in Tara. So here we go, lots and lots of very fabulous events occurring. The appearance of the tree, the Boyne forming, Fenton finding his voice, the 3 great fabrics, treasures that will suddenly appear. Now we have the 5 great roads of Ireland, which apparently there was no way of getting to or from Tara before these appeared in conjunction with the birth of Conn Cétcathach. And what other wonder, this is section 7. "O woman," said Fingen. "Not hard to tell," said the woman. 2 complete sepulchres of Slieve Mish." And Slieve Mish are the mountains where the Milesians first landed down in County Kerry on the Dingle Peninsula. Let me just make sure. So 2 complete sepulchres. Da Einachal Slánne Slieve Mish. Now Einachal looks like it's a slightly different rendering of a word Adnacol. So if you've heard me speaking about Eided Na E agus Adnacol, the violent death of Na E and his burial, Adnacol burial, or in this case obviously a burial site. "There were buried in them 2 sons of Meal of Spain, to wit, Ever and Erimone, on the occasion of dividing Airne between them, one of them at the end of the mountain to the eastward and the other at the end of the mountain to the west. And the sons of Meal said that those 2 sepulchres would not meet in any manner until the kingship of Airne should reach one grip, i.e. be united under one head. It is they, moreover, who buried them, to wit, his 2 druids, Ur and Ehiar, their names. Tonight those 2 graves have met, so that they were of equal length side by side in the midst of the mountain, and in Tara be the single grip of Airne till judgment." And Fingen sang this quatrain. "Glory to those of noble clans with splendour, is whatever of good you prophesy. There has not been heard in Airne until now so much of special glories in one night." You got that right, Fingen. A spectacular concurrence of events. Interestingly, in relation to Eber and Erimone, they were brothers of Amergin. Dunn was the chief, the oldest brother. He was killed when they were coming to Ireland, and the agreement reached between Ever and Erimone was that they would divide the kingdom of Ireland into 2, and they became the first sort of Milesian, the first of the descendants of the modern kings, according to all of the manuscripts. And at the end of a year, they fought to the death. Erimone killed his brother Ever, and Erimone assumed sole kingship of the whole of Ireland. But this is a slightly different rendering of history, mytho-history, but interesting nonetheless. Section 8, Iver a Hucht. "And what other wonder, O woman," said Fingen. "Not hard. Ní hansa are she. 3 wonderful lakes have appeared in Airne tonight before the birth of Conn of the 100 Battles. To wit, Loch Nechach, which means the lake of the horses or steeds. A 4-branched holly tree, which has been placed at the head of it for 7 years, has turned to stone insofar as it was in the earth, and the portion of it that was in the water has turned to iron, and that portion of it that was above the water has turned to wood." Fascinating. "Moreover, Loch Riach, which is that Loch Ree?" said the woman. "It is in it that Cair Overve, which means sillyberry, from the she of Fiaul Imvi, washed the mantle of Mock in Og." Who are we talking about? Angus of Brunabonia, Angus of Newgrange. "With a multitude of colours unknown to the world, so that it is variously coloured, and so that it showed a variety of colour upon it every hour, although the men of Erin should be looking at it at one time." Now, Cair was the lover of Angus in Aislinge Anguso, this mysterious maiden who he dreamed about. But when he tried to reach out to her, she would disappear. And of course, he pined after her, longing for her love, so much so that he became sick and he stopped eating. And he had to enlist the help of Bowen and the Dagda, who in turn enlisted the help of Bov Jarug to go and find this mystery maiden. And they found her in the form of a swan, and Angus had to take the form of a swan to get her love. So this is a slight variation of the tale of Angus, the Machog of Brunabonia of Sheed and Broga. Loch Lane too, said she, Lochlein. Let me just check the Irish, just to make sure, because sometimes even the English rendering of the Irish names is slightly different. Yeah, Loch Lane is the same spelling, Lochlein. Loch Lane too, said she, there poured a rain upon it tonight of the hail of the land of promise, and that's translated from Tír Tairngre, the land of promise. So that there have sprung, and by the way, that's not to be confused with the Christian heaven. Tír Tairngre is a distinctive, although the location isn't very well known, is a distinctive sort of other world where the she-folk, the Tuatha Dé Danann, go to when they disappear from this world. Sometimes it's said to be out in the Irish Sea. I think we saw that in the last story, which was the Adventures of Art Macon, which was episode number 139 of Live Irish Myths, and sometimes out in the Atlantic Ocean, out off the west coast. So that there have sprung many wonderful treasures from it, to wit, the jewels of Loch Lane. Although the lakes, were in Airne, they were not manifested until tonight throughout Airne. Fantastic stuff. 3 lakes magically appearing in conjunction with everything else that's happened. Thereupon he said, though it be long until thou didst come, O woman, there was found with thee something that made it short. It is much that thou sayest of wonders in Airne before the birth of Conn. 9. And what other wonder, O woman, said Fingen? Not hard to tell, said she. 4 men who escaped from the Tuatha Dé Danann in the battle of Moytura, so that they were in hiding in Airne, destroying the corn, the milk, the great fruit, and the mast. 1 man of them in the plains of Moy-Iha, Oridg, Reg, I imagine that's pronounced, I could be wrong. Reg, his name. Another man of them in the mountains of Breg, or Brea, that's the hills of Sliabh Bra, running several miles to the north of Brunabonia. Bra, his name, Brea. Another man in the borders of Crochu, Tinel, his name, Tinell. And another man in Sliabh Finoil, Grand, his name, Greand, grand, as they say in Irish. It'll be grand. Tonight, said she, they have gone into exile from Airne after being driven out by the Morrigu and by Bov of the Shiar of Femin, that is Bov Jarug, the aforementioned one who helps Angus to find care in Aislinge Anguso, and by Midger of Briley, who we meet in the story of Tuchmark Etain and his strong associations with Newgrange, and by Mach in Og, Angus himself, so that there shall not be robbers from the Fomorians as long as Conn lives. So apparently there are 4 Fomorians who have survived the Battle of Moytura and have been running amok in Ireland since the Battle of Moytura, destroying the corn and the fruit and the mast, etc., etc. And now they've been driven out just in time for the birth of Conn Cétcathach. Fantastic stuff. That which has come from the meeting of glory, the birth of the descendant of Crithon, I have to think about how I pronounce that every time, Crithon Nia Nor, out of all the glorious things which thou prophesiest, Airne shall be 3 times the better from this. Fantastic stuff. I'm going to pause for a moment. I think the rest of the sections are just a little bit short, and we don't have too much. We're about 2/3, perhaps 3/4 of the way through. Just want to check on the comments to see if there's anything that I've been missing. Anything important, as it were. It's all important, of course. Donna Ferrer is here, missing not being able to participate in the live session recently. Grateful for the recordings. Thinking of Airne. Thanks for letting us know. Oh, Desiree, is Desiree here as well? Donna, it's great to see you. And you're always very welcome along, of course. Who else did I miss? Did I miss anything? Oh, it keeps updating with the new ones at the bottom. It keeps scrolling down. Tom King's in the house. I missed that, Tom. Good evening to you. Very impressed by all your wonderful creations in the forge lately. Very impressive work. Keep her lit, as they say. Anything else that I'm missing? Let me just check the Mythical Ireland community. Helen Guinan is in the house on the Mythical Ireland community. The proper way to do it is now, Mom, you bow from the neck. Well, that's, of course, if Her Royal Highness Helen receives bows in the same way as the Queen of the land across the water. And good to see you, Helen. Hope you're keeping well. Yeah, should shout out a mention to Veronica Casey, who was bereaved lately. Veronica, we're very sorry for your sad loss, and our sincere condolences to you. We send out all our love to you at this difficult time for you. And Desiree is also on. I'm now only apparently seeing the YouTube comments. Apparently, oh no, here we are. I'm seeing the Facebook ones too. Apparently. Oh, and Airne Durrett, of course. Sorry, yes, I knew that too. Airne lost her father as well. So Airne and Veronica, we're very sorry for both of you. I'm very glad to take a slight pause in the reading, just to remember, in a quick moment of silence, to remember those you have lost. And look, we're with you. We're with you anyway in spirit. We're like an extended family, a family around the world. So again, our sincerest condolences. I'm on section 10. And what other wonder, O woman, said Fingen. Not hard to tell, said she. A fabric, here we go, wonderful, perishable, which is here in thy vicinity, said she. To wit, a palisade of white bronze upon Ra Aldine, from the day when its making was undertaken. Whatever the builders and smiths used to lift of it one day, there's Tom King getting a mention in the mythology, that fell down in the morning, so that they did not accomplish the fitness of its making, nor of its doors, and so that they did not complete its beauty, nor its smoothness, till tonight. And besides, said she, 3 vixens out of the she arose, escaping in flight before the rough attack of the Dagda, to wit, Shure and Or and Berva, which are the rivers Nor, the Shure, the Nor, and the Barrow, until they have come together in one place and have met together in one estuary in this night. Brilliant stuff. And that is, of course, down there at New Ross, Waterford area, where the Barrow, the Nor, and the Shure meet and spill out into the sea. Fingen began a quatrain. Thou art blessed in speech, O woman. I am blessed in recounting. There is no concealing in Airne the expectation of Conn of the 100 battles. Veronica is grateful and glad to share that comment, Veronica. We would watch together, and Ma loved watching your live streams. Thank you. Look, what can I say, except for our hearts go out to you. And we embrace you with long arms, virtually, through the medium of the internet. And, look, it's good to see you here, and our very best to you. I hope that, I hope that you know that our thoughts are with you. Section 11. And what other wonder, O woman, said Fingen. Not hard to tell, said she. 3 times 9 white birds. I always get excited when I see any mention of white birds. Swans, I think of whooper swans, I think of Newgrange, I think of Cygnus, I think of alignments, I think of migrations all sorts of stuff. I think of transformations, shapeshifters. 3 times 9 white birds in chains of red gold have come tonight and have sung wonderful music on the walls of Tara, Moriv na Chaurach, so that there shall not be either grief, distress, or sorrow, or longing, or absence of entertainment in Airne during the time of Conn of the 100 battles. And so to Veronica and Airne, we hope that these thrice 9 white birds descend upon you and your vicinity, so that there will be no grief or distress or sorrow around you. And there have come the 3 sons of Owen mac Ihidon from the She of Trim. I don't know where that is, Trum. And I'm just wondering, any of the Meath folk know if there was ever a place at Trim in County Meath called She Trim. That would be interesting. And there have come 3 sons of Owen mac Ehidjon. Not sure of the pronunciation there. Pardon me for butchering it if it's wrong. From the She of Trim towards him, Conn, that is. And they are the 3 royal mercenaries who have sat down about him, to wit, Mael and Bluchne and Bluch. Of course, 3 names associated with Tara. And at the sound of it, Tara and the hosts which are in it, and all the chief fortresses of Airne have uttered a cry. And the poet has uttered a royal lay to Conn, said she, when it was at his parturition. Dost thou remember that lay, said Fingen. I remember it very well indeed, said the woman. We have addressed you tonight for joy, said the woman. Your sorrow will break out again if you hear the lay of the Druid. Since I have heard the good, said Fingen, why should I not hear the bad? Take a sip of water. And this is section 12. So it is then that the woman began this lay about Conn, and this is the one which the Druid uttered at Tara. Joyous the cry of the birth of Conn, Conn over Airne, Airne under Conn, Conn or Conn, it's got 2 ends. I think it's Conn, and in some parts of the country you might even say Cown, believe it or not. Conn as far as fall, which is one of the poetic names for Ireland. It shall be from him that the sovereignty of the hosts shall be stretched. Over the ancient plain of Edar till doomsday, there you go, Joan McHugh, Shanvai, the ancient plain of Edar, or Ether, Edair in this case, there will come cavalcades and chariots, roads under them, and noise across the sea. His barks and his boats with crooked prows will strike the waves across the sea. His hosts upon Meath, upon Munster, he will be, ellipsis, obviously one of the words in the manuscript was illegible, he will be ellipsis to the sea's wall. In his time, men of Leinster shall be bold, his help is not backward. Upon the breasts of Lochar, he will fill with his fury the old plain of Shanov, S-A-N-B-H, or S-A-N-B in this case, but the B would be lenited even, sorry. To As Rua, to Find, to Fanad, as far as Chechduind, and Chechduind is the house of Dun, the aforementioned eldest of the brothers of the Milesians, who was killed off the coast of Ireland, off the southwest, where the dead hold their tryst. He shall mix spears in the blood of heroes, upon the slope of Ulster, a broad track. His wrath shall proclaim each tribe, as far as the wave of the Sea of Wight, W-I-G-H-T, and that's from Mara Nicht, N-I-C-H-T. Ellipsis, another missing word, split red spears, blank, split red spears, swords in dark, bitter gore, from earth to the blue sky, fierce flames will fill the air. He will go upon an adventure into Fairy, Achtra from Tara, the true prince, gentle, prosperous. He will prophesy to him, noble the series, thrice times 50 princes from him. Here's that number again. There will be born a grandson after that, Cormac, grandson of Conn, his name. He will be a rock of justice at every hour, to the top of fierce judgment. Conn's pride will shake Airne, both wilderness and mountain, with his prosperity, with his law, with his race behind him. Certain it is in the eyes of the Druids in Tara, who sing something that is not false. Perfection of rule as far as the three seas, three muri, all has God granted to him. Though we be, I and thou, O Fingen, in a long watch here, whatever of wonders we talk of has been granted beyond everyone to Conn. There has been granted to him a long blessed time, triumph over noble clans under his rule, kings through battles, hosts, blank, ellipsis, sides, before their cries raise the shout. Mark Rhodes Taylor's in the house. No problem, Mark. Good to see you. And yeah, of course, you'll be able to catch up afterwards. So, yeah, it's all good. Seamus Mara says, just love the myths. I love stories like this. I love the fact that we're dealing with different versions of other myths too. It's fascinating stuff. And you'd wonder, which of the bards maybe told this story originally. It was obviously a bard with knowledge of a lot of different source material. A bard with knowledge of tales from the Dinchanicus and perhaps tales from some of the Ulster cycle, etc., etc. Yeah, and sort of put them together in one, or it's fabulous. Section 13. That then, said the woman, is what Ceasard the Druid, Ceasard. If you didn't put the D on the end of it, it would look like Caesar. Ceasard the Druid has spoken in Tara on this night, tonight, when Conn was born. So now she's speaking in the past tense. Conn has been born. And Fingen uttered this ran, or quatrain. Ran being the Irish word, R-A-N-D in early Irish, R-A-N-N in modern Irish. Whatever thou speakest of wonders, will, it seems to me, come to me. It bodes me no good upon hearing the lay of the Druid. Then great dejection took hold of Fingen, and he went forth escaping from his own land, so that he did not come at once, i.e. that he might not be in his own patrimony, waiting for the might of Conn and his children after him. So Fingen was making a circuit throughout Erin, and Conn assumed the kingship of Erin thereafter. And section 14, which I believe is the last and the conclusion of the tale. Yes, indeed. Conn one day went upon Ishnach in Meath. That's the famous hill of Ishnach with the Isle na Mir and the Stone of Divisions, so that he beheld all Erin on every side. He asked his druid, "Is there in Erin," said Conn, "one who does not serve me?" "There is but one man," said the druid. Aenfar. That's interesting. In the Irish, it's one word, Aenfar. And in modern Irish, it would be Aon space Fear. But back then, they were a little bit less liberal with their spaces. "There is but one man," said the druid. "Who is that man?" said Conn. "Fingen mac Luchta," said the druid, "and since the time that you were born, and since you took the kingdom, he has been avoiding your power." Cá bhfuil sé. In Old Irish, cá bhfuil, B-A-I-L, so that's lenited to bhfuil itá. Cá bhfuil itá, cá bhfuil sé, as we would say in modern Irish. Where is he? "In what place is he?" said Conn. "Between two deserts, Sliabh Mish and Lochar," said the druid. "I shall not leave that callow bladelet of grass in Erin without law upon him," said Conn. "That will not be very easy for thee," said the druid. "Why not?" said Conn. "Not hard," said the druid. "There is a woman of the Sidhe who instructs him," said the druid. "But there is," said Conn, "a covenant made by Bov Jarug with me that no encroachment," literally gap, "shall be made in my sovereignty by him." "What guarantees hast thou?" said the druid. And by the way, that literally translated from the Irish means, what is at thy hand? What is at your hand? And that, in a roundabout way, means what guarantees have you? There is a guarantee with me, said Conn, to wit. Far Fi Mac Oghaval, that is, the son of the daughter of Crimthan Niad Nor, and her father is from the She of Buv. Pursue him, said the Druid. And so it was that Fingen went to Conn, and he was for 50 years in his company, so that he won 17 battles, until in the last battle he perished by the hand of Foranum Foa the Tall, and the latter by him at Gull and Irguld. And that is the conclusion of the fabulous story of Airne Fingen, Fingen's Night Watch. And I can say, hand on heart, absolutely, that tale is certain to provide me with material for future articles, blog posts, book chapters. I, having refamiliarized myself with it tonight, find it again thoroughly fascinating. And I'm so glad that I stumbled across it. And sometimes so what you have to remember with, we've seen sort of immense publications of work, the Annals of the Four Masters, Laura Gawala in 5 volumes, Metrical Dinchenicus in 5 volumes, Ancient Irish Tales, Toynbee Cúilge, all of this and that and the other. But then you come across these lesser known stories, and they're almost buried in books that were published over a century ago, thanks to the labours of Bergen and Best and Meyer and O'Keefe and others. And sometimes those stories, which are the hidden ones, turn out to be the wonderful gems that you've been missing from what you've been reading in the mainstream publications, if you want to put it that way. And so, just like a lot of the things that were hidden, according to the Ben She, when she was speaking to Fingen, that were going to be suddenly revealed upon the birth of Conn Cétcathach, the famous High King of Tara, Conn of the 100 Battles. So it is the case that for 21 years I've been reading Irish mythology, and I've suddenly stumbled upon a story that I never read before. And it has contained a wellspring of joy for me. Such a fabulous revelation. And so really wonderful. It, in fact, spurred me into a purchase online of a Scholar Select reprint of Anecdota from Irish manuscripts. Now, it's not the cleanest facsimile reprint, in that it was copied from a book where somebody had taken a lot of notes. And the other thing that sort of irks me very slightly about Scholar Select is that they don't always match the right-hand pages with the left-hand. So 58, should be here, and page 57 should be there. 57, 58 should be back to back, but they're facing. They put the odd pages on the even ones and the evens on the odds, which is slightly annoying, but once you get over that, it's grand. You find the most glorious little gems hidden away. But again, they're not hidden, because remember that without Bergen and Best and Kuno Meyer and O'Keefe and all of those great scholars like Whitley Stokes, etc., we wouldn't be able to read these in English, and you would have to be very well learned in the early Irish or the Middle Irish, to disentangle these stories and to translate them yourselves, something that Morgan Daimler has exceptional talent with. So we're indebted to those scholars who more than a century ago laboured long and hard to bring these things to a sort of greater public awareness, as it were. Kathy May, thank you. I'm very glad to have. It's nearly 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks since we had a regular episode of Live Irish Myths. So it has been, yeah. Cruthan had one father, Nor, but she, Clohru, had her son Nor between her own three brothers. Interesting stuff. Cruthan ni Nor is also mentioned in the Dinchenicus Brunabonia, Joan. I must dig that one out again, just have a look back at it. A brilliant story, says Anne. As you say, a wonderful gem. Thank you for ferreting out this one and sharing it with us. I hope that I can continue to do that, actually, to find these little gems, that we can continue to do that in future episodes. That is its own story, the story of Cruthan. I wonder, is that available in one volume in one place, Joan? That is a question that we would have to ask. Good night, Alwyn, and glad you enjoyed yourself. And sure, we'll see you for the next one. Don't forget, if you're interested, you can pre-order Return to Segish on the Mythical Ireland website. Signed copies. I post worldwide, hoping to have them in my hand in the next couple of weeks. And also a big thanks, as usual, to the patrons. And not forgetting, perhaps more importantly, next Monday evenings, episode 7. I got mixed up. I said the episode with Mairead Carew was episode 7. It wasn't. It was episode 6. I was getting ahead of myself. Just reminding you to register for next Monday's live Irish Myths in Conversation with Patrick McCafferty. Mike Naylor is saying, wonderful show. Thank you, Anthony. Good luck to Mike and Jeanette. And Prashant Dave is there as well. Good evening to you. Just to remind you to register for Monday's live Irish Myths in Conversation with Patrick McCafferty. Our main topic of conversation will be comets in Irish mythology, but Patrick has also written about superstition and how superstition protected monuments from damage, and also a great interest in caves, and perhaps could tell us something about cave mythology. So really looking forward to that one. Hope you can join us. In relation to future guests, I have some very exciting guests lined up. Stay tuned for announcements in the near future. Have I pasted those links in? Yes, on YouTube. I haven't. YouTube. There you go, YouTubers. Yep, so that appears to be it, I think. Thank you all for tuning in. Glad you enjoyed yourselves. And, stay well, stay safe, keep coming back. And if we don't see you on Monday for Live Irish Myths and Conversation, episode 7, we'll see you for another regular episode before too long. I just have to try and ferret out some more fascinating tales. We still have stuff to read anyway. There's still tons of material. There is literally tons of material. We definitely won't be stuck. So all that remains for me to say at this point to you all is Ichawa, good night. And I know it mightn't be nighttime where you are, but when it comes around, have a good one. Colo Sov, sound sleep when you decide to go to bed. Slán go fóill. Bye for now. And the most important one, Tug go bugé. Take it easy. I'm Anthony Murphy. This is Mythical Ireland. Wow, episode 140. And on the 12th of March, we'll be celebrating 1 year on the air. The first episode of Live Irish Myths was on Thursday, 12th of March, 2020. Not far off a year. Brilliant stuff. Glad to have had you all along to enjoy it.